Hi, this is Gwen Wild from PESI, and I'm here today with Dr. Ken Carter, who's going to be joining us next week on August 27th for a free live event. Ken has done these for us before. He's an awesome presenter. People just love how engaging he is and what a great way he has on making complicated information very easy to learn and fun even. So welcome, Dr. Carter. How are you today?
I'm great. Yeah, please call me Ken. Yeah, I'm so excited about doing this event for PESI. These free events are fun and they're kind of a blast. I know that some people think about psychopharmacology as sort of a dull kind of concept, but I promise you we'll have some fun and learn about the medicines at the same time.
Super. And I don't know that I would think dull, but I would definitely think very confusing. So I've always appreciated how you're able to make it simple
Yes.
and easily digestible. So I appreciate that. So to start off with, tell me, as a psychologist, how did you first get interested in diving deep into psychopharmacology?
Yeah. So years and years ago, there was a law in Georgia that required psychologists to take continuing education in psychology, in psychopharmacology. So I went to a lot of these psychopharm kinds of classes, and I always felt like they were designed like by prescribers intended for other prescribers. And I felt like I would love for there to be a little bit more information in there for people that are not prescribers like me. So I ended up going back, getting a second master's in clinical psychopharmacology, learning about the medicines myself, and then create this really kind of hybrid event that talks not only about how they can be helpful from a prescriber standpoint, but what non-prescribers need to know about the medicines as well. And I've been really overwhelmed by how many people have come to the workshop multiple times to really learn and to become more comfortable and more competent with the medications.
Perfect. That's super helpful. Thank you. And then I just have a few questions for you.
Yeah.
The first one is going to be, why is it important for non-prescribing mental health professionals to have an understanding of psychopharmacology? You kind of just mentioned that, but yeah, what else do you have?
Yeah. I mean, I think there's a lot of different reasons. I mean, we know that more than half of people in therapy are on one or more medications. It's important to have an understanding of the impact that those medicines might have on them, but also the side effects they might be experiencing, the relationship they have with their medications, because people do have feelings about the medicines they may be taking, some hesitancy about taking medications or the effect that they're going to have. And so the more I have an understanding about the medicines for my clients, the more I feel like I can be sort of part of that team. It's not necessarily that I'm making changes in the medications or giving them advice about what to do, but understanding what they may be experiencing, I think, is a really important piece of what we're doing together. And I think a lot of people feel if they don't know about the medicines, they don't want to ask about them, but having a good understanding of the medicines can really sort of reduce that barrier. And so part of what we'll be talking about is like, what are the things that you can say as a non-prescriber and what might you want to stay away from saying? And so we'll talk about all those different kinds of things in a context where people can sort of learn in an introductory kind of way. So it's a great experience for people.
Yeah, wonderful. Yeah. And I think it just does take that fear away that we all have about, where does our scope of practice end as far as what can we say and what can we not say? So yeah, perfect. Okay.
Yeah.
Next question, very near and dear to my heart as I've struggled with sleep issues. What are some common adverse reactions to meds that are used to treat insomnia?
Yeah, so we have a whole section of the workshop where we talk about medicines for insomnia, and some of the side effects can be some problems with memory or sleepiness even after people wake up. But some of those side effects are really withdrawal symptoms when you come off of the medicines. And so what some people have if they stop the medicines really quickly is they'll have some rebound insomnia. So they think they're actually addicted to the medicines when they really may not be. And so what we know that it's important for many medicines to come off of them really slowly, including medicines for insomnia. We don't talk about this a lot for all the different conditions, but if we have time, I'd love to take some time next week to talk a little bit about some of the behavioral interventions, which can be really powerful as well. But we'll talk about maybe through 4 or 5 different classes of medicines for insomnia, how they work, what the side effects are, and I've created some really handy handouts where they can like quickly go back and look at some of those things for each of the medicines.
Great. Yeah, I remember you have some great additional resources that people love. So super helpful. Okay. This might be a hard one, but what do you think is the number one question clients have about their meds?
Yeah, I think a lot of clients, the number one question I feel like they have has to do with the side effects, like how the medicines will impact them. And we talk a lot about this in the workshop. What are some initial side effects that people might experience? But also what are some side effects that might come later on and how to sort of distinguish them from each other. In fact, I'll go ahead and give away one of my tips about this, which is that clients can always talk to their prescribers about side effects. But I also recommend that they talk to their pharmacist. Pharmacists are really wonderful resources to help people understand the medications, the side effects, and how they work. And so I always make sure that my clients have an understanding of their team of people who can be helpful, which includes their prescribers, it can include their pharmacist, or even a lot of insurance companies have nurse hotlines where they can call and get information about that. That's probably the number one question that people often have is the side effects, but they have lots of other questions too in terms of how do the medicines work? What impact might other medicines have on them? Can they drink on the medicines? And so we have one section of the workshop where I sort of have an open question where people can ask, like, I asked you, the participants, what are the most frequent questions that you have? And I will answer as many of those as I can, because I think I don't want mental health professionals to be sort of off guard in terms of being able to handle the questions that they're likely to get.
Yeah. And good reminder that I just want to make sure people know this is live next Tuesday, on the 27th, you will be live. So people will have the opportunity to ask you questions in real time. And I think I forgot to point out earlier, but you'll see both below us on the screen, as well as the QR code, that those are easy ways to get to the sign up page for Dr. Carter's free course on Tuesday, the 27th.
Yeah. And you can share that with other people if they're interested in taking it too. And I would say that it's a great workshop for non-prescribers. We also get prescribers in that workshop as well. So there's a great mix of people. And I learn something from every workshop I go to as well. And I have lots of opportunities for people to ask questions throughout the whole thing.
Yep. That's a big bonus to attending live. Okay, last question for today. From an ethical standpoint, what is something non-prescribers need to consider when discussing meds with their clients?
Yeah, and so I think that it's a balance of things, right? And so we want to be able to help our clients. We often will have advice in our minds of things that we think our clients should do or shouldn't do. And so, but what I tend to be very, very, very sort of conservative about what the advice I give to clients about their medicines. Since I'm not licensed to prescribe in Georgia, the clients that I see, I leave that to the people who are licensed to prescribe. And I definitely give them information that they might find helpful, but I stay away from giving them advice. That includes switching or to different medicines or going up or down on the dose. And if they have sort of questions or concerns about that, I tell my clients, it's a really great that's really good advice for them to talk about that with their prescribers, or I'm happy to advocate on their behalf. But I really think that that's something they should get directly from their prescribers. We'll also talk a little bit about conversations directly with prescribers as well. Like, what can you say to a prescriber? And it's actually more than you think that you can say to a prescriber in terms of recommendations. And so I'm hopeful that by the end of the workshop, people will feel confident and competent about the kinds of things they can say to navigate it, because it can feel confusing, but I'll definitely bottom line it for people as we go throughout the workshop.
Okay, awesome. And I remember one of the parts that I enjoyed so much was where you go into the neurology of what's actually happening in the brain in
Yes.
response to the meds. And so you cover everything from neurology to ethics and everything in between in this day. Great.
Yes, and I have a great resource page for people who are taking the workshop. So all the videos that I show throughout the workshop are available for people to watch again, and links and other resources for. I know it can feel like it's a lot to take in, but with those resources will allow you to revisit those. And then sometime the next year, I'm going to do little mini videos of some of those explainers that people like.
Oh,
So they
good.
can sort of revisit those explainer little videos.
Yeah. Oh, super helpful. Well, good. Well, thank you so much for being here today with us, Ken. And I'll look forward to seeing you on Tuesday, the 27th. It's going to start at 8 o'clock Central Time. And you see the registration link or the QR code above. And if you can't attend live, you can sign up anyway to have access to the recording. So hope to see you all there. And thank